Morning. Today we are going to be focusing on adding and subtracting decimals. This should be pretty much a review, so this should be pretty quick. I'd like to start with a quote from Oprah Winfrey. It says, "You become what you believe." And I know that it's really hard to stay focused and staying on task, especially when I'm not there with you guys. But just remember that this is for your benefit, and it's going to help you guys with your learning in the future. So for today, there are four basic things. First is just a review of how to add and subtract decimals. Second, we're going to figure out strategies on when to add and when to subtract. And third, we're going to get some practice in, and then you'll have an exit ticket as your final challenge. All right, so how do we add and how do we subtract decimals? Well, it's very simple. All you have to do is stack up your numbers by place value. What that means is whenever there's a decimal point, make sure you line up your decimal points first, because that's going to be the most helpful way to organize. So if you don't have a decimal point, it's a whole number, and your decimal point is going to be at the very end. So for example, if we have this number subtracting the second number, we cannot subtract this going horizontal because our decimal points are not lined up. In order to answer this, all we have to do is we go ahead and write down the problem, and we're going to go ahead and stack it up. So bear with me because my handwriting on the screen is not very good, but all we have to do is write out the first number. And now I'm going to write out the second number. I'm going to start with my decimal point, make sure I have it lined up. Now I see that 7 is in the ones place. I've got 759 thousandths, so I go ahead and write that down underneath, and we are subtracting. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color. So now 3 minus 9, can't do that, so I have to go and borrow. So 13 minus 9 is 4. 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 minus 7, cannot do it. But I can do 12 minus 7, gives me 5. 0 minus 7, cannot do it. 10 minus 7 is 3. 4 minus 0 is 4. And then lastly, all you have to do is bring down your decimal point. So it is 43 and 524 thousand. So now if you look at the second question, unfortunately, they don't give us exactly what the numbers look like, but they do give us the word form, 72 thousandths plus 1 3/10. So all we have to do is go back to our whiteboard and then stack them up. All right, and if we remember, our number is 72 thousandths. So let's start with my decimal point. 72 thousandths. So that means that I have a 0 in my tenths, 72 thousandths, and I'm adding 1 3/10. So whenever I see the word "and," that is going to be representing my decimal. So start with my decimal point. So it's 1 3/10. Now, if I wanted to, I could even add the zeros in to serve as placeholders. Okay, so now once again, change colors. 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 0 is 7. 0 plus 3 is 3. And 1 plus 0 is 1. And lastly, bring down my decimal point. So one important thing to note, keep your place values nice and lined up. That way, we don't have any mistakes that way. All right, so now we'll go to taking a look at word problems. Now, here are some friendly tips to realize that if you're adding numbers, the numbers will increase in value. And this is going to be very important because if you're doing problems and you realize that your number is actually smaller than the two numbers that you started with, then something is wrong. And with subtraction, your numbers will decrease in value. Now, here is the very first word problem. Mr. Lee buys a Dr. Pepper for blank dollars, and Jenny orders a steak that costs blank dollars. How much was their total bill. Now, in order to figure this one out, I need to figure out, is my final number, my total bill, going to be bigger than these two numbers, or is it going to be smaller? Now, I realize I've got Dr. Pepper, I've got steak, and if I combine them, that means I'm getting a larger number, which means I'm going to add. Now, for my second challenge, Mr. Lee buys a Dr. Pepper for blank dollars, and Jenny orders a steak that costs blank dollars. How much change do they get if they pay with blank dollars? So, once again, I've got Dr. Pepper, I've got steak, I'm combining them together, but then take a look over here. How much change do they get if they pay with blank dollars? So not only am I adding, but I'm also having to find change. So that means I'm both adding and subtracting. All right, so now, lastly, Mr. Lee buys a Dr. Pepper and Jenny buys her steak. How much more did Jenny pay? So here's Jenny's steak that should cost more. And then here's my Dr. Pepper, which is going to cost less. How much more? So that means I am subtracting, I'm finding the difference. So if I take a look, that is subtraction. So I want you guys to go ahead and try. Now, I've put in the numbers, the same word problems as before. Mr. Lee buys a Dr. Pepper for $1.83, and Jenny orders a steak that costs $35.68. How much was their total bill? I want you to go ahead and pause right now and go ahead and solve this question on your own. I'll go ahead and wait. All right, hopefully you had enough time to go ahead and solve the problem. If not, make sure you go back and pause and solve it. Now, if I take a look, I've got my Dr. Pepper that costs $1.83, and I'm finding the total amount, which means I'm combining both of these prices. So that means I am adding. So 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry the 1. 8 plus 1 is 9. Plus 6 is 15. 5 plus 1 plus 1 is 7. And 3 plus 0 is 3. And make sure to bring down my decimal point and then add in my dollar sign. So altogether, our total is $37.51. All right, now let's go ahead and check the second problem. All right, so question number 1, done. Now, Mr. Lee buys Dr. Pepper for $1.83. Jenny orders a steak that costs $35.68. How much more did Jenny pay? So how much more? So figure out what operation are we doing? Are we adding? Are we subtracting? All right, go ahead and take this time to pause and go ahead and solve it on your own. I'll go ahead and wait. If you knew that we were subtracting, ding, 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 excellent job. So you should have $35.68. So with subtraction, our larger number needs to be on top, okay? Now, I've lined up our decimal points right on top. $1 goes under the 5. It does not go under the 3. You have to make sure the place value matters. $1.83, 1 and 83 hundredths. So now, 8 minus 3, that gets me 5. 6 minus 8, can't do it, but I can borrow. 16 minus 8 is 8. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 minus 0 is 3. And Jenny's steak is $33.85 more expensive. All right, let's go ahead and check the very last question. All right. Mr. Lee buys a Dr. Pepper for $1.83. Jenny orders a steak that costs $35.68. How much change do they get if they pay with $50? Now, think about what we have to do. We have to first add up our $1.83. We have to add that with $35.68, which we did in step 1, actually. Now, how much change do they get if they pay with $50? So figure out, what do we have to do to see how much change that we get? So go ahead and pause the video. All right, hopefully you have solved it. Now, this one is tricky, which is why I'm going to set it up with you. Now, $50, most of you know that 50 looks like this, but then you might be wondering, but Mr. Lee, you know what? I've added it in right over here for question number 1. So $37.51. Where do I put those numbers? There's no decimal point with $50. That's a very good point. Now, if you don't see any decimal point, it is right after the whole number. And 0 is in the ones place. And I'm just going to add 2 placeholders right there. So now I should be able to add my decimal point. And now I can write down $37.51. And because I'm finding the amount of change, I'm going to subtract. Let me change the color. All right, so 0 minus 1, I can't do that. I got to go all the way to this 5. This is now 4. This 0 got borrowed, but I need to take it all the way back there. So I need to change that to a 9. This is a 10. I'm going to borrow. And now this is a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 5 is 4. 9 minus 7 is 2. 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring down my decimal point. And I can't forget my dollar sign. So $12.49 is my change. All right. This very last one is a tricky one. Okay, let's see if you can answer this question on your own. All right, your exit ticket is, answer this question. A restaurant needs to sell a total of 12 and 54 hundredths tons of food each week to make a profit. Monday and Tuesday, they sold 5 and 54 thousandths tons of food. Wednesday, they sold 2 and 4/10 tons of food. Thursday was a busy day, and they sold 3 and 802 thousandths tons of food. How much food needs to be sold on Friday to make a profit? All right, go ahead and pause the video right here. I will add in a couple hints, okay, if you need it, but if you can pause it and answer it on your own, choose your answer, and we'll see if you were correct. All right, here's your first hint if you need it. Monday and Tuesday, I organized it into kind of like a chart. We got 5.054 tons Wednesday, 2 and 4/10 tons Thursday. Now I'm missing Friday, but I know the total amount that I need is this amount. So what's my first step going to be? Am I going to be adding? Am I going to be subtracting? What do I need to do? So I need to figure out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. How much is all that going to be? I'm probably going to be adding these numbers. All right, I'm going to pause it again and let you solve that if you still haven't. All right, if you knew that we were supposed to add, congratulations, you did a great job. Here we stacked up the decimals, and I did not put in the placeholders over here, but you should have 11 tons and 256 thousandths of a ton. So now to figure out Friday, this is what the question's asking. This amount plus Friday's missing amount is going to equal this total amount. So if I take my total amount and then I subtract my 11 tons that I know, whatever is left over is going to be Friday. So I'm going to pause and we'll go and see what the answer is after we subtract. All right, so make sure the bigger number needs to be on top. Even though 12 and 54 hundredths has less digits, the 12 is a larger number than the 11 because this decimal point is a very important indicator. So now I have a missing place value, so I'm just going to put a 0 there. Then I'm going to go ahead and subtract. 0 minus 6, cannot do it. Just got to borrow. 4. This is 13 minus 5 is 8. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. And my decimal point down below. And so Friday, they need to sell 1 284 thousandths of a ton. So if we go back to our word problem, we take a look for 1 284 thousandths of a ton. Our answer choice is D. But if we take a look, answer choice A, it doesn't even make sense, because how can Friday sell all that amount? That's pretty much impossible. And so D is the answer choice that best supports our answer. Well, if you made it this far, congratulations. For this week, on Friday, you'll be taking an assignment, okay? You can take the quiz up to 3 times, and it'll take your highest score, okay? So make sure you have pen and paper. Make sure you do the work separately on a piece of paper. I'm not going to be able to check, but this is the best way for you to do it. And do not use a calculator unless I have given you permission, okay? This is only for certain students in our class who get it. All right, hope you guys have a good week, and I'll see you later.